Hey guys, it's Mr. Eusebio here, back at it again with another video for you. Today I wanted to talk very briefly about the Canon 60D, or cameras in general, but the model of the camera that you're using in this class is a Canon EOS 60D. So it's on the front of the camera. When you have an opportunity to, make sure you take a look at that so you know exactly what you're using in the class. Secondly, when you have the camera, don't forget, when you're using the camera and you're taking photos, the camera goes around your neck 99% of the time. It doesn't go anywhere else. You got to keep it around your neck so it doesn't fall or hit the ground. Next, when you support the camera, you don't hold it like this, okay? There's only very special circumstances when you might need to do that, but most cases, you want to support the camera. You have your right hand on the actual camera grip itself on the right hand side. Your index finger is on top of the shutter button, and you're supporting the camera with your left hand underneath the lens. At this point in the game, I don't want you trying to turn this thing here in the front. That's for manual focusing. We haven't covered that yet, but we will for video. But we're not fiddling with this at all. And you don't want your hand to be in this area because it'll actually cause the autofocus not to work right. So make sure your hand doesn't touch that front part of the camera lens. I had a question asked earlier in a class, and they said, Mr. Eusebio, does the camera zoom? These lenses that I have, this particular lens does not zoom. It is a prime lens. A prime lens are not designed for zooming. They're designed for large apertures, but you gotta zoom with your feet. So basically, if you wanted to take a photo of something close up, you gotta walk towards it if you want to get a good photo, or if you're too close, you gotta step back. There's no zoom in feature on this, so you gotta step in closer. But the trade-off is we get amazing photos and we can take better photos in darker environments. So that's the trade-off. We do have some zoom lenses, and we'll talk about that later. Next, to check on your camera, there's a little AF MF switch on the actual lens. Most lenses, like all the lenses I think we have, with the exception of one, has a little, I don't know if you'll get that there, but it has a little AF MF switch. Make sure that when you're taking photos that it says it's flipped onto the AF option. If for some reason you're holding the camera up and you're trying to take a photo and it's not recording or it's not focusing, check your AF MF switch. Sometimes you might knock it by accident, so always check that. Next, the front of the lens, don't touch it, okay? Don't make a habit of it, avoid touching it. Secondly, if you do end up touching it, don't rub it with clothing. We have to use a microfiber cloth to clean that off. What will end up happening is you're going to scratch the lens. So don't touch the front element of the lens. So we call it the front element. Actually, there's a filter on there to protect it, but it's the front element. The back of the screen. We're fortunate enough to have these particular cameras. They have a flip-out screen that will be handy for video. But the thing is, at this time, you really shouldn't be fiddling with this screen until we get to the video part. So most cases, turn it gently and put it back into a locked position like this, showing the actual screen. Don't flip it over and cover it this way. The screen doesn't close naturally anymore, so just make sure it shows that. Your camera. Your camera has different control options. The top wheel here controls the shutter speed. The rear wheel back here controls the aperture value. And if you want to change the ISO, you press the ISO button and then you turn the top dial here. So I call this the top dial. I call this the rear dial. Rear meaning the back. So that's how you change the settings on your camera.